Do you want a cockpit for your racing sim rig, but you don't want to spend $1,000 on one? Then you're in the right place, because in the next few minutes I'll explain step by step how I built mine without spending a dime. That's right, I didn't spend anything to assemble this cockpit base for my G27, and you can do the same with common tools like a handsaw, a drill, and the help of an adult. In addition, this support is fully foldable, and depending on the materials you use, it fits in the space of 20 by 30 inches with a thickness of about 8 to 12 inches. It also has fully adjustable pedal distance and even comes with an integrated seat. You can also adjust the height and depth of the steering wheel if you are willing to invest in some screws. But you must be asking yourself, well, how can you have done all of this for free if I need to buy the materials, such as wood and cloth, to start the project? And the answer may surprise you. You don't have to buy the materials, just as I didn't pay anything for mine. All the wood and cloth that I used to make this cockpit, I reused 100% for free. If you want to get free materials too, you can look in places that are undergoing renovations and have those rubble dumpsters or old and broken furniture that people leave in front of the house to be taken away. Just make sure that these items are going to the trash, and you can take them out with the old owners, who even thank you for not having to take them away themselves. Some examples of where to get wood are old sofas or beds, which is the case of these wood planks. Another common source is old and broken tables, which is where we got this top. If you can only get wooden boards like this one, you can make marks every 2 to 4 inches in the wood and cut it with a hacksaw or handsaw to obtain the boards needed for this project. It is also a good idea to get broomsticks to use for braces connecting the two parts of the cockpit, which people throw away when the brooms get old. To get the cloth, you can use an old fabric that you have at home, an old hammock, or even a blanket that you no longer use. The complete list of materials is 14 planks, 9 broomstick halves, and at least 15 inches by 3 feet cloth and a 3 feet piece of rope. With the materials resolved, we move on to the manufacturing stage. There is no need for a project in this case, because each material you get can be a little bit different, and you have to adapt what you have to each stage of the project. This way, I'll explain in general terms how I made my cockpit support, and therefore you, understanding the idea, apply it with your size of boards. So the basic idea is to use pieces of wood approximately 1 by 2 inches and about 3 feet long, but this can vary a lot according to what you have, and you'll see why in a moment. First, we are going to make 2 folding sidebars connected by pieces of wood that can be the same used on the sides or even cut broomsticks. Each wood plank must receive 2 holes with a diameter of a broomstick for the rods to enter without much ease, since these will not be removed when disassembling. The holes must be drilled at the beginning and end of each board. I left the same distance from the edges and the end of the wood. In my case, I'll use a 7/8 inch or 2.2 centimeters wood drill bit. If you prefer, you can also drill several holes with a small drill bit to remove the wood in this desired shape and clean the burrs with rasp and sandpaper. With that done, cut a broom handle to a length of 15 inches plus enough for a total of 8 plank thicknesses, and a surplus of half or 1 inch on each side. This is where the main axle will be for all other boards. Also, prepare 2 smaller pieces, one for each end, so that one is flush with the boards without surplus, and the other is a little longer for attaching another board on each side, and a surplus of half or 1 inch on each side. Note that the size of each one is different, since one part is more internal and the other is more external. With the base ready, we will need to drill a few more holes in the side members in the future to add the seat and the steering wheel support. First, let's make the seat so that we can test the best positioning of the steering wheel support. If you choose the adjustable one, you can do the wheel support first if you want. The first 2 holes will be in the widest part, halfway down each side plank, which will receive a support beam for the seat back. For the seat, we will take 4 boards and drill 2 of them at both ends and the other 2 at one end and about 4 inches from the other end. These will be the side structure of the seat, so the longest are the backrest and the shortest are the bottom seat. Cut another piece of broom handle with the ends exceeding 2 board thicknesses on each side, and again, half or 1 inch extra length on each side. This will serve as an axle for the backrest. With that in hand, you can place the shortest board on the back broomstick and the longest on the middle broomstick, forming an X. Now you can hold each unattached end and look for an angle that is comfortable to drive, but remember that you will let the cloth in a U shape that attenuates that angle. A good general rule of thumb is to place the boards in a position where the backrest is tilted slightly backwards, as well as the seat, forming an obtuse angle slightly more than 90 degrees. With them in place, we mark the holes positioned this way, marking where one board sits on the other. We are going to reinforce the structure with a broomstick at the junction of the boards we just drilled, and one at each free end of the seat and back. It is at these ends that we will attach the cloth that will serve as the seat. Speaking of which, let's sew a bit. Here, we take a cloth with the described dimensions. In our case, we had an old cloth of 30 inches and 3.5 feet, which is just folded in half and sewed to get the desired dimensions. Then, we folded one end about 4 inches and sewed it so that a broom handle passes through easily. We did that on each side of the cloth. If you don't have a sewing machine, you can sew it by hand or glue, staple, tie or fix it the way you prefer. Finally, in one of them, we drilled a hole over the broom handle to tie the seat height adjustment rope with a dead knot. To attach the cloth to the seat, place a crosspiece by the other end and secure it in the holes in the free end of the seat. The other end of the fabric will be passed over the backrest and the rope tied to the back bar that locks the seat angle. We put a yoga mat over the seat hammock to make it more comfortable and not feel the broomstick squeezing your legs. But even without one, you can adjust the cloth in a way that does not hurt your legs. Next, we'll make the steering wheel support with 6 more boards. In this step, you need to have the base ready to test which position the steering wheel is most ergonomic for you. First, we're gonna make the steering wheel's direct support, and then we're gonna connect it to the base by a triangulated structure for better reinforcement. The immediate support, where the steering wheel is attached, consists of a wooden T, that is, a lathe is the base and another is placed under it vertically, leaving enough space for the steering wheel to hold. This part can be glued and nailed or screwed for greater rigidity. Mine is at a slight angle to make the steering wheel position more ergonomic. The side plates are the ones that will rest against the vertical support posts of the steering wheel, and can be short if you choose the option without adjustments, with holes and locked with broomsticks. If you want the adjustability, make the sides much longer, cut a slot in each one with the amplitude that we will obtain now. To do this, place the base on the floor, open the chair and place your pedals on the opposite end. My pedals suffered a reversal a few months ago to feel more like a normal car and less like a race car. However, this also works for normal pedals. Hold the side timbers in this position, change the height of the steering wheel for all possible people who will use it, and mark the range of motion on the wooden post for reference. Drill holes with the diameter of the chosen screws at a distance of half the width of the slot. To make the slot, if you don't have a circular saw to make them, you can drill a few holes one after the other so that it fits a hex saw. To put it in the hole, you can loosen the saw from the arc, pass it through the hole and reposition the saw in the arc and tighten the nut. All that remains is to drill a hole at the base of the vertical support post to connect it to the central broom handle. That done, just position the steering wheel on its base and then between the two posts. Insert the screws and place the ear nuts to fix it in place. The same type of slot must be made on the strut plank if you want to adjust the proximity of the steering wheel. With the vertical posts of the steering wheel in place, we position the wood strut in a 45 degrees angle with the base. We pull the steering wheel over the body, leaving it in the position closest to the body, so that the kids can play too. At this point, we mark the end of the support lathe. With that, we put the steering wheel tower as forward as possible to facilitate the exit. We mark it again, but notice that the base of the support must be fixed and the tip may go out of alignment with the support of the steering wheel. With this marking, we make one more slot on each side and a broom handle hole in the other end. In the wheel tower, we'll drill a hole above the others to pass a screw that will slide on the strut. thus adjusting it with a tightening of the wing nut in the desired position. With that, the steering wheel is almost ready. All that remains is to make a support for the shifter, which consists of two screwed pieces of wood, making an L shape, connected to the steering wheel post by two screws to stabilize the gear changes. Finally, the pedals are attached to the base with pins that go through two holes in the base of the pedals and allow it to use closer or farther from the driver. If your pedals are not inverted, you can drill several spaced holes on the sides of the base side members and position the limiting beam further forward or backward by changing the holes it passes through. With everything over, we move on to the painting phase. This is an optional step, which I would not do if I wasn't recording this video. Therefore, I did not consider the costs of paint, brushes, and rollers in the total cost of the Sim Rig Cockpit. All the paint on this cockpit costs about $5 to $10. For painting, we disassembled the whole thing. We opted not to sand the wood for a more rustic look. Then, we mix the paint, put it in the tray and apply it with the roller on the clean and dry boards. A couple coats of paint should be applied here, allowing it to dry and sanding between coats if the surface wrinkles with drying. After drying completely, you can reassemble everything and go enjoy your favorite racing games in your new cockpit. I loved how useful, comfortable and stiff this cockpit is if you use screws between the fixed woods and ropes that tie the structure under tension. Yeah, we added a couple more ropes so we wouldn't wobble. The position is very anatomical and similar to that found in a real or racing car. In addition, with the adjustable steering wheel and pedals, it is really fun to drive the cars in a more comfortable position. I made my own cockpit support so that it could be more comfortable for me, and to help me make my videos that for now are about Forza, and in the future I plan to go real cars and projects. So, when I finish using it, I want to be able to fold my Sim and store it in a corner since we don't have much space here at home. In addition, it is an easy way to load the cockpit in the car to go to my friends' houses when we set up games meetings. Now take a look at the best Racing Legends videos and subscribe if you like this type of content. Thanks for watching!